Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Soul Diving Sunday show featuring transformational life coach Shelley Wizen and your hosts Lisa and Nancy. Everyone, it is the end of 2024. Shelley, woo, it is winter is on its way and it's a period of darkness, right? But at the same time, we all put twinkly lights up and light candles for Hanukkah. We, light the Christmas tree, so everybody has different beliefs. And, a lot of them tend to go towards the light in the end of the year. So that's kind of interesting to me. So that's why I'm excited about this topic about being a light. And you've got a great article, everyone. Link is in the episode notes. Also go to blendradioandtv.com. But you talk about being the light, because in life, we're going to have periods of darkness. And sometimes this time of year, when it's darker longer than light, some people don't feel so light and flamboyant and happy and excited about the holiday season. Some people tend to feel a dark heaviness. And so I like this topic a lot.
Yeah, I like it a
Being
lot.
the light.
Because one of the things is, and first of all, happy holidays.
Well, you too.
I know.
Happy
I can't
holidays.
believe it's already here, but it is. We just had Thanksgiving. It was wonderful. So now it's time to have more holidays, which is kind of
Yay.
the spark of everything. And so being the light is a whole different thing. And I usually spell it with a capital B and a capital E
Mm-hmm.
and lower ing, because we're in the process. When you add an ing, it's an active word. And so you're in the process of being.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are able to be the light, then we are able to bring that light into ourself or shine that light from ourself out. Because we all have light, we all have dark, we all have both. But being conscious of being and bringing the light is a whole different thing. And sometimes we lose sight of that, and understandable that some of us are not in a great shape. Some of us are homeless. Some of us don't have roofs over our heads. Some of us have loved ones that love us and we love them. Some of us humans don't have those things. So how are you even able to create light from within you in those circumstances? It's a challenge, not undoable, not impossible. It's where we spend our mind and our thoughts and our beliefs. Where do we spend them? What focus do we take using the lens of our life to live our life? How do we do that? What do we look for?
I love that about your article. You gave some really valid points of, as usual, of constructive what we can do to get our light into action, right? It's sometimes we think, oh well, just what, you're gonna flick a light on? Well, no, sometimes we have to do the wiring, right? So you talk about stay in your center. So let's talk about that, because isn't that where we have to kind of balance our emotions, find out who we are, kind of find that spot?
Right,
So
exactly.
you don't want a candle that's tipping, in other words.
Right.
Because we
You
don't
want
want to
to
burn anything.
solid foundation. And how do you build a solid foundation within you? So part of that is staying centered. How do you do that? How do you stay the eye of the storm when there's a tornado all around you? And the minute you put your finger out, now look, what am I doing? I'm pointing my finger out.
Well, if you're going to point at me, I'm going to say you should not do that. Oh,
you see, even that word coming back is
see, like that's horrible. Yeah. See, but that starts a back and forth, right? That's not necessarily the positive.
And that's where we start dimming our light. Somebody else is pointing the finger saying you should this and you should that. Then what are they saying, really? They're saying, live the way I want you to live, not the way you want to live. So I want you to live my selfish, not your own selfish. So how do you stay centered and live your life from authenticity, from a genuine place? So you get in touch with, well, what is it that makes you happy? What is it that brings you joy? I mean, which is the next phase. It's like finding those places within you that light up. What
Mm.
lights up your heart?
What lights up your face is when
What
you
lights up your face?
you're happy, right? When your heart is happy, you light up. You
Right.
physically light up. It
Yeah.
actually happens.
Yeah.
Mm.
Your endorphins are all released, all the oxytocin,
You
all the
get the
stuff.
twinkles in the eye.
Like,
You know,
oh,
there's some
good.
people you meet that just have a twinkle in their eye.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, so and so has a twinkle in their eye. They always have a
Yeah.
twinkle in their eye. And if the twinkle goes out, you're like, uh-oh, what happened? Oh my
Right.
gosh.
Well, the other thing is to get in touch with what truly matters to you,
Mm,
what's meaningful for you, and what moves the needle in your life, what moves the dial
mm,
towards joy factor, which I call the yummy, delicious life scale, towards the joy factor. What moves the needle towards that? And then what happens is if you do that, you can find out what makes you tick and what lights you up. So how do you
mm,
even do that? Deep breathing. I know I don't think I did it on this podcast, but I did it on a video. Oh yeah, it was a live
mhm,
video I decided to do, impromptu. And what I was realizing is the in-between time from
mm,
here, there, where we are to where we want to go. Sometimes I have a tendency of walking so fast
mm,
from one place to another without allowing myself to be in the in-between time. Take a nice deep breath,
mm.
pause, and go, where am I? Look, and wherever you are is where you are. Look at where your feet are planted always.
Right.
And then you will know where you are in your life and be present with what it is that you're doing, not thinking of the next place you want to be,
Right.
discounting where you are. Well, and then you use
Yeah.
that word that creates static. I'm alert
Mm-mm.
where I should be, where I
Mm.
think I should be. And what happens with that is we think we ought to be somewhere other than where we are, and we don't allow ourselves to be where we are and let that be okay. We always
Yeah.
think it's not enough. We have to be over there to be enough. We have to be doing this to be enough. And so discounting, dismissing our own self of where we are really dims our own light because we
Mm.
feel bad. And that word, I say, don't shut up over yourself.
Don't, yeah, the should haves. And I think that's hard. Like we're at the end of the year, we reflect on what we've done, good and bad, right? So, maybe you got fired at work for giving your boss the finger. Maybe you should be happy about giving that person the finger because maybe they needed it.
You said a word, sorry, that I didn't understand in that
Did I
sentence.
say the S word?
We say it so much we don't even know we say it.
I'm going to be banned from the podcast just now. But no, but you know what I mean? We get to this where, well, we should have done this instead of that. We should have done this. Instead of going, okay, take ownership of what it was, what are we learning from it? Because we make mistakes all the time. And sometimes we make the mistake, even as we know we're going to make the mistake, like we gave ourselves permission to screw up sometimes. And there's going to be a reason behind it, which isn't always good. But you have to kind of look at it and not kill yourself over it. I think we have to kind of forgive ourselves, don't we? If we screw up, are we allowed to do that?
Of course, we're just
Yeah,
human. We're
yeah.
we're souls having a human experience. And it's the human part that's the bumpy ride.
Mm,
And so we learn how to navigate through by doing different things, by allowing our light to shine, by focusing on joy, owning our own well-being, not giving this remote control to anybody else for our sense of well-being.
mm.
And that's another way of shining your light, of getting in touch with your light, is owning your own stuff, own your own well-being, own your own happiness, own your own joy, and own your own misery.
Remote control.
And use the remote control on yourself instead of
Mhm.
giving it away to somebody else to have control over you, because then you're giving them, now just think, it doesn't make sense. When we give somebody else control, thinking that what they say is more important than what we say, what they feel is more important than what we feel, and what they think is more important than what we think, for our own self.
Mm.
That does not make any sense.
And people do that in relationships. Like, oh, I'm not good enough to be with this person. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not, I'm a low life compared to this person, but I want to be around them, but I'm not good enough. I watch that in people often, especially in romantic relationships, where suddenly, like, a woman will start to pretend to like football when she really, I
Doesn't.
cannot pretend. Like, it's not going to happen. I have
Right,
no clue. I put the Nutcracker Suite on and it's perfect music for it. And
right.
that's, if we're going to watch football, that's how I want to do it. I'm not
Uh-huh,
going to be one, I will go and do something to help, to
uh-huh.
assist, or to like be a team, like to be a, like I would want someone
Yeah, yeah,
to come
yeah.
to a performance kind of thing,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
support. All right.
yeah,
But not
exactly.
lie about it and pretend to like the same music, pretend to do all this to get them to like you, instead of going, no, I really don't like punk rock. I like John Denver instead. And the person will go, oh my gosh, I don't know. Well, then maybe they don't know, then move on. Like, it's okay. You know
Right,
what I mean? Because I feel we do that to ourselves to, so then it becomes a lie.
right.
You're lying to
And-
yourself and to
Right,
the other person.
right,
Mm,
exactly. And then what you're doing is changing yourself to please the other person instead of being yourself, and see if they're gonna meet you where you are. At least give a 50-50 chance of
mhm,
them going, God, I really like who you are and how you are and the way you do whatever it is you do, instead of, I mean, I've done that. I've done that in relationships. I've changed myself so somebody else would like me. And that's why I've changed my approach to all relationships.
mm,
And when I approach it from human being to human being, one human being to another, it equalizes the playing field. When I approach it, oh, you may be my boyfriend, then I start to change the role. I used to, up until now, of course, but I used to go into a role of being what I thought they wanted me to be. And I assumed it because they didn't like the way I was or who I was. And
mm.
I wasn't acceptable.
Then you
And
don't feel happy.
and then we don't feel happy. And then we give this thing away.
Mhm.
We give it away.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like a push button. Letting someone push button your life and push you and do this, do that, and
Yeah,
dictate it and being a boss. And we don't want a boss, and I mean, we don't. Even a leader, a good leader is not a boss,
right,
right? A
right,
good leader is a leader, not a
right,
boss.
right,
Um, and then you become the sheep if you're being push buttoned around. You're just, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, 3 bags full, ma'am, and that's not good. And you're not happy. The remote thing, I want to go to this because of the analogy you talked about. We want to go from A to B without that in between, right? So sometimes in life we have to hurry, right? Fine. But the present moment is so powerful and so important. And I feel like in life we've created things like fast food. What happened to the process of cooking? You love to cook, what do you bring to the table? So, really, what do you
yeah,
bring to the table? Or are you just going to go whiz through a fast food place, not even check if they got the order right, and throw
right,
it down, wolf it down, and then tell me, what did you just eat?
right.
Right? And I'm
Yep,
not knocking fast food places. I'm just saying, so we're losing that peace of mind, that presence of being thankful for the meal, thankful for the farmers, actually the person who cooked it. Even if, maybe you don't have, like, a bunch of money to buy anything fancy. If it's soup, well, you'd be happy. Good soup is a good soup, man.
uh,
Bring it.
you know
But
me.
so it's that part, and it's the same thing with remote control.
Yeah,
It becomes this very easy thing to push button. Now, if you've got yourself in remote control with what you want, like you have yourself on speed dial, like, I want to feel happy, I know what to do, so I can push that on the speed dial or the remote. That's great. But the remote control is taken away going and getting up and going to the TV to change the channel, which has caused laziness
mm,
and easy for other people to fight over the remote. They wouldn't fight over the remote if they had to get up and get off their butts and go to the TV.
right,
So I feel like we've gone into this fast lane thing, but if you can do that, if you know yourself and have taken the time to go, these are the things that make me happy. Me put it on my
right,
speed dial on my remote. I can program my remote.
right.
But that presence, we've we've lost that as a society. And I think you bring us back to that present moment all the time, reminding us that is ultimate power, but it's a cool power. It's not evil power,
Yeah,
not greed.
soul power,
Oh, I
baby.
like that.
Soul
Yeah.
power. Yeah, because we don't spend enough time getting in touch with our own soul, with our own essence, with our
Mhm.
own destiny, with our own calling. A friend of mine, Diana Merlin, calls it soul design, to our own
Mhm.
soul design. And we're so busy getting from here to there. And I include myself in the we. I'm not, talking down to anybody. I'm with everybody. I mean, I look at myself when I do a video and information comes out of me that's inspiring. I
Mm.
go, I'm talking to you, Shelley. I see you right there. And so I'm my best client when it comes to all of
Mhm.
this. We are all human. And that's why I say it equalizes the playing field, because we all have emotions, we all have feelings, we all have
Mhm.
behavior, we all have beliefs, we all have thoughts. And it's which thoughts do we spend the time on that make up our lives? It's like wearing
Oh,
a necklace. Which pearls of wisdom are we going to wear around our neck? Are we going to
mm,
wear not pearls of wisdom, but the opposite of that around our neck, that's pulling and spiking our necks
mm.
to strangulation? I mean, what
Oh,
thoughts are strangling us and what thoughts are freeing us?
you mean
What
I can have a Fruit Loop Lucky Charm necklace?
Yes, 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 yes. I love
I'm
that. Then
feeling
you eat
lucky
it,
today. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You eat
Yeah.
them on a string. Remember, we used to do that? You put them on a string,
Yes.
and then you
Yeah.
could eat them one by one by one.
And your
Yeah,
tongue used to go pink. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. I know,
But it's
exactly.
fun and it's sweet, right? So, like, you can choose what's going to remind you, and I think all of this is a lesson of consciousness, which is so,
That's it.
I like this. So, I want my Fruit Loops,
There you go. You go for your Fruit Loops, girl.
but they'll be naturally sweet, right? So
Right.
you're owning that, but then you say, like, now you, in your article, you talk about focusing on joy, what brings you
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah.
So now we have to shift, because we do know that we like to focus on the negative. We do have those, our brain. So we're back to that rewiring. And then we have to say, stay in the joy lane as much as we
Right.
can, right?
That's right. So we can't help but go to the negative because we're wired for impending danger. We were wired as cave people, and we had to be on high alert all the time because you didn't know what was lurking beyond the cave, if a predator was going to come and eat us up. So we had this whole notion of
Good.
danger embedded in us for survival.
Mm,
Now we don't have those actual predators around the cave, but then we make them up. We make up predators in our mind and we create stories around what we think is happening. And it may not be happening at all. Then we react to the story that we've made up in our head and we
mm.
lash out at the person that we have the story about. It's kind of a crazy mix of how
Oh,
we do things in life, it's
well,
crazy.
we just had Thanksgiving as we record this. Nancy and I had Thanksgiving, and people, you were asking, like, are you going to cook? And actually I did do a little cooking, and I did a nice brunch. And then we had some major things to do technically wise on sites and all of that.
Yeah,
And then we realized we did not really have the support needed on a Thanksgiving because it's a holiday. So our
right,
people that we work with are not there. And why should we expect them to be? Right.
right,
So
exactly.
we sat outside with a glass of wine, and I said, well, I could go get this done. And she goes, Lisa, you make the schedule. You make your own schedule. I'm like, yeah, but we had to do this and this. And she goes, it doesn't matter. You are the one who makes your schedule where you do not allow your time for yourself. That is your scheduling. It's not my scheduling. Yes, things will happen, things will get in the way, hurricanes, and things will always have a detour for us. But if you don't leave any breathing room within your schedule, well, you chose that, you know. So she was saying to me, Lister, it is Thanksgiving. We're allowed to sit out and enjoy ourselves and have our glass of wine in the sun with the dog and the flowers and the butterflies and the
Exactly.
birds. And so, and she's like, she says, what happens if you do? What happens if we finish this bottle of wine? I'll say,
Right.
well, I'll probably want a second. She goes, okay. But now,
Right.
after that, now what, who's gonna,
Oh,
who's gonna shit on you, right? should on you
Right.
yourself, right? And she's like,
Right.
so are you going to fire yourself? Are you going to get mad at yourself? Or are you going to feel better that you actually took care of your body as you keep complaining, I need time?
Right.
What are you going to do?
That's
So
great.
what I did is we sat and had a few laughs and played with the dog all afternoon in the sun with the butterflies and the birds.
Well,
And the poor bunny that tried to get in was not allowed to because of the dog. But
right, right,
that
right.
is exactly that wiring of, if I don't do this, this is going to happen.
Yeah,
Well, I'm here talking to you and having a good time.
exactly. Who said joy can't
What?
happen within what you're doing? Whatever it is,
Yeah.
that's the point in the book. What do you bring to the table? That's one of the main points that I bring out, is because even if you're washing dishes, it can be joyful. Who said it?
Hmm.
You have to have a bad attitude washing dishes. Who said? Who
Hmm.
said you have to have a bad attitude doing a chore, mopping the floor?
I actually enjoy doing the dishes because it allows my brain to change over from whatever I was thinking next. It's this, or it's like a time to think. Like to me,
Well,
it's like a in
time out.
between project. Yeah,
Well, there you go.
it's a thing. And I
Right.
think we do it a lot when we get upset as women. We start to clean things.
Yeah. It's meditative. Clean out a closet or clean out a shelf or anything, just clean out. It feels good to do that. And
Mm.
that's also joyful when it is joyful. If it's not joyful, I mean, not every single thing is going to be joyful. I'm not saying that, because we're not perfect and
Hmm.
what we do is not perfect. And sometimes we're in a bad mood. But maybe if you just
Mm.
took a moment and took a deep breath and got in touch with your breath, got in touch with being mindful, got in touch with, wow, here I am. Just look around, look at where your feet are planted, you know, just be appreciative that you have a body,
Yeah.
that you get to have a human experience, whatever that is,
As
whatever
soon
that
as you
is.
said that, I thought I better sit like a lady. No one can see under the Zoom, okay?
Nobody
But
can
see,
see.
the negative immediate, that was
Oh,
an immediate negative thought.
yeah, yeah. Well, so forgive yourself and move on and replace it with a happy thought. And what
I
you're
have.
saying is so important. What Nancy's
Mm.
talking about, so important, to give ourselves permission to
Mhm.
have joy. That, hey, it's
Yeah.
okay to be happy. Even
I'm
when,
in a heck of a better mood this morning, I'll tell you that.
there you go. Yeah. And you feel better.
Hmm.
That, that's one of my favorite words. I'm a wordsmith. I love words, and some words I would like to pluck out, like the word should, just pluck it right out of your language. My language, I say it to myself, and my life is not as unhappy as it was when I said a
Mm.
lot of shoulds.
Mm.
Excuse me, you know. So
Yeah, it's not a,
find
it is
way.
a negative word. Mm.
It doesn't make us feel good about anything.
When I was a little kid, Nancy never allowed me to use the word stupid.
Oh, that's good too.
She's like, you
Smart,
cannot
your
use the word
mom.
stupid without it being negative in some way to anybody, even a thought. We all have our stupid moments in
Right,
life, right? But she
right,
says it's the more you say stupid, the more you're going to do it.
right. Wow, your mom is so wise.
Yeah, she's got to be feeling the love in the other room.
I love you,
Yeah, I'm
Nancy.
gonna tell her. But yeah, but
Love-
I think she's right. And then, as we get adults, why do we stop those things? She's like, I don't want a child running around calling things stupid, or, she
Right.
just,
I hate this, I hate that. Yeah,
yeah, oh, hate was another thing.
yeah, yeah. So there
She
are
always,
some words. We could change our entire lives just by
mm,
plucking out certain words in our English language.
mm,
That would change and alter the way we are. Because I know
mhm,
when I stopped saying the word should, or am very conscious of it, and I become a little obnoxious, and I don't really go in there all the time with other people who say it a lot if I'm not given permission.
mhm.
And I could become just one of those spiritual assholes, and that nobody
No,
can hear anything
don't be one of those. I want to
anyway.
do a show on don't be one of those people,
There you
because
go.
that's exactly, because half of the times when we say that, it actually means we're already on our way there.
Yeah, yeah, something. It's not the
Mm-mm.
kindest nor, most easiest way to explain something.
Mm.
It's a little pointy
No, I
fingeritis.
don't like the pointy finger.
Yeah, no. When we have pointy fingeritis, it's a bad
It
disease.
reminds me of like people like back in the olden days, we'd pull the finger and the person
Yeah,
would
yeah.
fart.
Art, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fart joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a bunch of hot air.
Yeah, that's right. It's a bunch of hot air.
Are we
That's
going there? Well, okay, so
what we did
but
before.
going back to this, the staying in
Yeah,
the joy lane, I think it's so important, and to stay there as much as you
yeah,
can, right?
yeah,
And understand when you're starting to are you having one negative thought then another because one begets the other,
yeah,
so we understand. So right after that, after you focus on joy, you say reflect and intend, especially for
yes,
the end of year.
yes,
I prefer what you're talking about than the resolutions that, you know, I feel like, yeah, we want to, the intentions, I want to do this next year, or I want to, oh, these are important things to me. It's about choices, right?
mhm,
So that's what reflecting is. And choices, I, the resolution thing is sometimes setting people up so much that they haven't given, like me in the scheduling, the wiggle room
right,
to stumble, because I think making mistakes is fun. It's not supposed to be, but anytime you make a mistake, something comes of it. Every negative has a positive. So I kind of look at it all positive in some ways. I try to, not always good at it. I'm learning. I'm still in school and I'll probably stay there for the rest of my life. But that intention part, that reflection and intention, I like that more than I do the resolutions thing. Like I
yeah,
resolute this because I sucked at this last year.
yeah. Well, what if we went back for the year? And this is one of the things that came to me is what if we went back and reflected on when we did shine our light
And focus on it.
and focus on that? And when we did impact somebody's life in a positive way? What if we focused on all the things that we did do that were in alignment with ourself, where we felt ourself be authentic and genuine?
Oh, authentic is very important when
Uh,
we talk about this.
Right, right. And so what if instead of looking, and then of course we're going to look back at did the fear and the doubt and all this stuff that crept in, because
Hmm.
remember, we are wired for impending danger, so it's bound to creep in. It's that fear of survival or fear of whatever. It's fear. And when we plug into that energy, that frequency of fear comes up and rises, and all those, it's almost like all those other words and concepts bubble up to the surface. Self-doubt, not enough, all those thoughts that reflect the fear of not being
Mm.
whatever we're supposed to be being. What happens is we get caught up, and that's the tornado that goes on around us. And the minute we point our finger out or we grab a hold of one of those thoughts, we're in that tornado. Then we're
I
no
don't like that.
longer in our own center. So we need to
Mm.
just keep our hands to ourselves, and focus on the things that make you feel good.
It's like as soon as we start looking at the negatives and fear and start living that way, then the cortisol comes in. As ladies, we understand that fear and worry, and we start to expand. Like I can, as soon as I'm nervous about something, I can swear that my stomach is starting to inflate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like giving myself a sourdough starter in my belly. Like
Uh-huh.
go for it. And how healthy is that? You know what I mean? So I want to be happy and light. I need to shed these pounds. And so, you know, I remember I had something pretty serious in my life happen, and I knew this big change had to be made, right? There's a personal relationship, and as soon as I got away from this negativity, I dropped so much weight it was not even funny. And it was like I could physically feel light. I mean, and I
Mm.
really did physically change. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything different. I didn't
Mm.
change
Mm-hmm.
any habit, but
Mm-hmm.
suddenly this weight dropped off of me. And I've seen that happen with people.
Mm-hmm.
So physically, we can affect ourselves. The happier we are, I think it might be happy for us physically.
You know why? Because it changes the chemistry. So when we are happy, the chemicals, the actual chemicals that come out of our brain are going into the body, right? And
Mm,
the serotonin, the oxytocin, the endorphins, all those good feeling hormones are secreted into the body, and we feel them all over. So we feel happy, we feel joyful. When we plug into the feelings, the effects of not being enough, fear, survival, all of that, then those chemicals, the adrenaline, the cortisol, all of those chemicals go into the body, and we feel that. And then we
Mm.
actually be addicted to those feelings if those thoughts keep looping over and over and over.
It's my Lucky
Keep
Charms,
repeating, right? And then we're
healthy
like
ones.
addicted to those feelings. Why? Too? Because they're
Mm.
familiar. So we have to do something to, or we get to do something. See, I catch myself when I say words that make me feel being scolded to. You have to do this, you have to do that. I get to change the way I'm thinking to change the chemistry in my body so I can feel better.
Mm.
And only we can do that. Nobody can do that for us.
That's why
Somebody can
humor is important.
conditions in the world for us. But if
Mhm.
we're not feeling it or activating it ourselves, I mean, there are times when I could be in a bad mood or feeling negative.
Sure.
I don't want to hear anything positive right then.
Mhm.
Don't tell me how to feel better. I don't want to feel better right now. I want to feel like I'm in a snit for some reason that there's some benefit there. I don't know
Mm.
what that benefit is, but we get some kind of benefit sometimes for
Mm.
feeling like that. And that somebody else wants to cheer us up, and we go, what are you so cheerful about, right?
Yeah, you don't know what it's like.
Yeah, only I
I've had
understand,
it worse than you.
right? And so we
Oh, what
start
is that?
comparing.
Ooh, ooh.
It's just the wiring. It's not personal. It's just
So we're back to electricity. So the
yeah,
wiring is
totally.
correct, then the lights come back on. So we can be
That's
our
right.
own little fireflies.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Isn't that interesting how
Yeah.
in throughout history in artwork, when they have fireflies and fairies and merlins and all the magicals always got little dots of light everywhere,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
I love that art because I think there's just something, ooh, special.
Yeah.
And so when we start being a little bit, we're just all going to get lit, y'all.
Let's go get lit.
Let's go get lit. Yeah,
Got lit.
exactly. Exactly. So I like that. Now, you also talk about once you've really got into your light zone and your joy zone, is to also shine the light for others.
Right. Right. So yeah,
That's cool.
if you don't think you're enough, right? How in the world can anybody else think you're enough?
Mm,
They can. Why? Because we don't always see ourselves the way other
mhm,
people see us. And we don't always appreciate ourselves or our own light the way others do. And
mhm,
the people that we love, that we trust, that we can be ourselves with, right? And they reflect that light back, we get to share it. Half the joy of having light inside of us is
mhm.
sharing the light and then
Yeah.
celebrate the light. But right now, when we get to share the light and know that when other people are being authentic and genuine and say nice things to you, to receive them with
Yeah.
graciousness, to receive them with a reflection of really who our soul is wanting to express within this body,
Mhm.
within this human experience of ours.
Yeah.
And when we do that, when we allow ourselves to go in there and appreciate our own light, appreciate the light that was given to us, our soul really is our light.
Mhm.
Our soul is
It's
the
true.
battery to keep us
Ooh.
alive. It's the heartbeat of the mother that pump, pa pum, pa pum, pa pum, that keeps us living. It's the breath. Every
Mhm.
time we take in a breath, we inspire, we take in inspiration, we take in our own spirit of
Yeah.
life, and we exhale it back. So there's a cycle of life that's going on every given moment we're alive and we're
Mm.
conscious. So I say, let's be conscious as much of the time as possible.
Mhm. Well,
We
it's like,
keep it all
when you
up.
laugh at a joke by yourself. If you watch TV and you laugh at a joke or something on a TV
Yeah,
screen by
yeah,
yourself, it's like
yeah,
funny.
it
Now,
is.
if you're watching with someone else and we both laugh, and then that's where the belly laughs come in. And the
Yes,
true,
yes,
the ugly face from the giggles. I
yeah,
love ugly face. That's
me too.
ugly face, not crying, the whole thing out of after absolute laughter.
Right,
It's not the same if you're laughing by yourself.
right,
It's not.
right.
It's far better to get ugly face with others.
To share it, to
I
share
shouldn't say
the
ugly face, but it is.
It
It's
is.
ugly.
Well, we get, yeah. Sometimes you can't tell if you're crying or you're laughing. You're laughing and you're crying, but you
Or you might be peeing your pants. It's that
get your
funny.
pants. Yes, that's
That's
right.
okay.
At a time or two, right?
You
From
know,
laughing so hard. Just like,
I know that
I
it
know.
in the most inopportune places are
I
times.
know.
But
I
that's
know.
the fun things in
It is.
life. So
It is.
the shining is really important
Yeah.
because then everyone starts. That's why I think consciousness, that connectivity, then we
Yeah.
have this bigger light and everyone's a little bit more happy than being grumpy. Because
Yeah.
do you want to go hang out with someone who's always grumpy?
No,
No.
no, it's not
You want
fun.
to be around the right people because then you have more trust in them. You know what I mean? If you don't trust people, that could drive somebody in your life. That's not good either. Get it,
Yeah.
get away, run, Forrest.
Run
You
for
know.
the hills.
Yeah, you
Run for
can,
the
but
hills.
because you want to be happy, and maybe that person's better with somebody that's going to be like that. I don't know, but
I
the
don't
more
know.
light we have, the better.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when we
So,
feel it in our heart, and the heart, my friend also called it the heart tank gets full,
mm,
we come from a place of love. When we actually consciously intend to come from a place of love, then kindness exudes and
mm,
consideration comes out, and thoughtfulness and laughter and lightness
mm,
and levity and joy comes
mm,
all out of that place of intending to bring love into
mm,
everything we do. That's why my signature said it's your life.
mm.
Enjoy the journey
Yeah.
and remember to bring love into everything you do, and a lot of humor. A
We
lot
need the
of
humor.
humor.
Well, we're right here in the holiday season and we get together with friends and family, and some of our elders have gone through some really traumatic things.
Yeah,
And so they're still possibly in that zone of fear. It's like, my Nana went through the Great Depression and World War II and things that actually were scary. And so she has that right to understand fear,
yeah,
but it's to choose that, oh, you don't need to feel that way anymore. Oh, that's a little hard for some.
right.
So when we're around folks who've got some kind of something from, I know, coming out of, you know, things that what we have lived through. I mean, you've been through earthquakes, Nancy and I, earthquakes, fires, so real fear stuff, right?
Yeah,
Um, if you've gone through something like that, it doesn't mean you have to stay there, but sometimes it takes time to maneuver out. And so
right,
I say we have to remember and maybe understand where somebody else is coming from during the holiday season. And if
right,
you just
right,
go like, why can't you just be happy? Well, maybe they don't know how yet.
right.
Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they're sitting in that going, and maybe, get them Shelley's book. What do you bring to the table? you know,
Yeah, and
but
you can
that's the
cook at the
thing.
same time.
Well, that's what joy is,
Yeah,
so, important. And if someone's not having joy, there's a reason. What can we do to help them find a light? And
yeah,
if you shine a light on them, chances are, like, how many times do you smile at someone and they don't give you a smile back?
right. Yeah,
Once in a blue moon, you get people like that hiking, and I'm just like, all right, whatever, you got cranky,
right.
and then I laugh at it because I'm just like, wow,
Yeah,
you're in nature and you're not smiling.
yeah,
Okay, maybe you need to go to the bathroom. I don't know. But
totally understandable.
but most of the time, if you smile at someone, don't they smile back?
Yeah. And why not? We're all in this together. We're all human beings having a human experience, traversing the
Mm,
trails, like you said, the hikes, the obstacles. We're all navigating this
mhm,
experience the best we can. And I believe when we navigate it through the soul's perspective, then we're celebrating the fulfillment of the
mm.
soul.
You know, when you also talk about the sharing of light, and sometimes maybe ask people what makes them happy to remind them. That's what I think so great about Thanksgiving, when people go around the table and say what they're thankful for.
Yes,
Like the gratitude group that Johnny has on Facebook,
yes,
things
yes.
like that. It reminds you of to be grateful, those little subtle reminders without going, you should be thankful and grateful because I did this for you. No, it should be, what makes you happy and thankful today? Did I say should? I did. But it could be without pointing. And
Well,
maybe
just
that
ask
will make
what
someone a
makes
little
you
happy
happy.
suddenly.
Well, if you ask somebody what makes you happy, right? You're doing a couple of things. You're engaging in a conversation. You're interested in what makes them happy. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask that question. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're authentically, genuinely interested in what that person has to say.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people say, "So how are you?" And they don't really care.
Yeah.
So when you answer, be genuine and authentic with what makes
Mm.
you happy. And when you're waiting for their answer, just hold the space for them to find out, because sometimes it takes a while for people to get in touch with what really does make them
Mm.
happy. That they've spent so much time in the land of not happy, they don't even know what joy looks like, feels like, tastes like, or
Mm-hmm.
it has its experience of.
Yeah.
Feel,
It's a very important conversation to have with friends, family, loved ones. So many people are like, well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, what do
yeah,
you mean? I mean, like, I don't know how to, I want to do everything. Like,
yeah.
I want to go everywhere. I want to go to every country, don't you? I mean, don't you want to like how I have too many things. So it's kind of but it's all connected into what we do. But it's sometimes it's like the answer instead of getting mad at somebody of like doesn't know, like someone's going to college and trying to figure out what they want to do. Just start asking what makes you happy.
Right.
Like Cheryl Crow says, if it makes you happy, it can't be that bad.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm,
Find out what
very good.
lights up your heart. Find out
Mm,
what that is and then identify it. That's part of the process that I bring my clients through. And in my courses, it's a process of diving in to see what is it that you believe
mm.
about certain things and what would you rather believe about certain things, and then take one tiny
Ooh.
baby action towards that so that you can at least live your life towards what it is that you want instead of away from what you don't want,
Mm,
which I don't know if you can get the nuance of that, but
mm-hmm.
when we go away from what we don't want, we often create the same thing because the universe just hears everything after the don't. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. And
Mm,
the universe hears unhappy, unhappy, unhappy. Here, I'm going to give you some more of that.
mm,
So it's important to go towards what you want. Well, what does make you happy? Writing makes me happy. Talking with you right now makes me happy.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
it's
when you're coaching, you see the breakthrough.
of course.
Isn't that cool? When
I,
when you see that breakthrough through someone's face, like, oh, I see, and you can stop living in trauma.
yeah,
That's kind of what I call it, trauma. People living in trauma, which you can. It's up to you. Do you want to live in it or not? I
yeah.
choose not to. I don't want to remember bad stuff.
I
It
moved
doesn't
out of
mean that I'm not conscious of it,
right.
you
Yeah,
know? So, yay. Well, let's be happy. All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go to a road trip, Shelley.
Okay. Well,
All right.
that's not too hard to say about you, that's for sure.
It makes me happy.
When is your next road trip?
You know what? We're going to be in Tucson until the middle of the month, and then we go to Texas, and then we go to Georgia,
Oh, wow.
and that makes me happy. All of them.
Good,
I
good.
like it. To me, it's like it doesn't really, people are like, "Well, where's your favorite? What's this favorite place?" And I'm like, I like it all. I
Yeah.
do, and I like to be on the move, but I like to be places for a little bit. Then
Mhm,
when you start to get around without your GPS, and I go, all right, it's time to find a new place to move to for the next
mhm.
few weeks. And then I'll go, all right, wait, I kind of want to go back there because that was cool. So
Right.
to me, it is wherever you hang your hat is your home. And I enjoy it, because we've made so many friends. I mean, it's massive, and animal friends, and because we pet sit, y'all, and people friends and places like certain trees on a walk in a different place, and you go and revisit them all the time like an old friend. It's
I love,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's all good stuff. Well, Miss Shelley, happy new year. And we
Thank
get to talk with you soon in January. We got good stuff coming, and we
you.
won't
Yeah,
tell anybody until it's ready.
it's exciting.
It is exciting. Everyone, stay tuned. January 5th. Good things are going to be happening because it's
But you can
fun.
also go to my website too, right?
Yes, yes, yes. ShelleyWizen.com is the website.
There you go.
Everyone needs to go there. Yes, and go get books if you want to do this for the holiday season. Don't you think the books?
Yes, definitely.
What do you bring to the table? Gives you some great recipes,
Yeah.
but some meditations, some life lessons.
Yeah,
That's a great book for the holidays, I think, for people.
it is.
Well, behave yourself, but don't. And
You can get it on Amazon or you can go to my website.
mhm,
Yeah.
you have a whole bookshop on your website.
I do.
She's got it. She's got it. Well, thank you so much, Shelly. Everyone, happy end of year, happy holidays. We'll see you on the flip side, and we'll all still be carrying a light around, right?
Totally. I'm holding the flame right now as we speak.
Ooh, she's going into the Olympics.
Yay!
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Soul Diving Sunday show featuring transformational life coach Shelly Wizen. Follow Shelly at shellywizen.com. Follow us at bigblendradio.com.